Colin Cowherd has become one of the most influential sports voices of his generation. From ESPN to Fox Sports to his own company, The Volume, Cowherd's opinions have resonated, which is why we wanted to get him on as the main event. Colin, I want to start off fast. If you were 22, coming out of college, and wanted to get in the sports media business, what would a 22-year-old Colin Cowherd be doing right now?
Open up a YouTube page and go to church a lot and start praying somebody would hire me on a platform that would pay me and manage me, and cross my fingers, because some of it is timing and luck.
When I was an intern, I interned with a man named Ed Engels, who had a very great career in New York, CBS. And he told me when I was 22, he would drive down south, knock on every radio station's door, and try to get a job that way. Obviously, things have changed in digital environment, so that you go right to YouTube.
Parents will ask me sometimes, do you have any advice for my son or my daughter? And I say, I don't, because the gateways into this building, into this industry, they don't exist. I mean, I work for iHeart. It's been great to me. They're not adding lots of people. They just had cuts. In the smaller markets, probably had plenty of those. Local TV, YouTube's largely killed sportscasters. ESPN first did, then YouTube TV. So I think the way into it is YouTube, social media, and just, people are going to love you or hate you. You have to be comfortable with yourself. I tell young people all the time, the only advice I will give people on the air is just be the best version of you. Dan Le Batard is not Dave Portnoy, but they're singular in who they are, right? So just be you and don't listen to the noise. I don't go on a lot of social media. I'm lucky. Generationally, I didn't grow up with it. I can still watch games and not be on my phone and be very comfortable with it. But just be the best version of you. And I don't like giving kids advice, because I think largely why I succeeded was I was willful. I wanted it so badly. I was so obsessed. I was a divorced kid, no money, very lonely. A lot of it was joyless. It was just masonry. It was outworking people. I think through therapy and children, I'm a much happier person than I was 25 years ago. But I wouldn't want my kids aren't into sports at all. I wouldn't want my kids to go through what I went through. The Vegas years were kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. But I think kids today are smarter. They're more in tune with the things that matter. And I think there's just a lot of ways in now. It used to be you worked at a radio station. You got an internship at a TV station. Yeah. I got an internship at a newspaper. I just don't think it's like that anymore.
No, 100%. There's some great avenues that you can get in. And, the big thing to me is that you don't have, there's always the great decider. You're a little bit older than I am, but when we came out, you had to convince somebody, usually older, that to hire you. I want to get deeper into that and your upbringing and everything, your whole career, presented by WSC Sports. You want to make your life easier. WSC Sports Digital Asset Management League Team Network. You got to use WSC Sports. They got the highlights. You got Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd was a good quarterback, according to my research, a baseball player as well in high school.
Well, I was a quarterback in high school. I was not a good quarterback. I loved baseball. I made all conference in basketball. Yeah, very small.
But now, if you need a baseball highlight, Colin Cowherd Jr., what position did you play?
I was a third baseman and a pitcher.
All right, Colin Cowherd looks like Greg Nettles at third base. You need that highlight a couple weeks later, WSC-sports.com. They'd have it right for you. All right, let's, and if you want to listen to the whole podcast, AndrewMarchand.com, AndrewMarchand.com. Growing up, I'm always interested in what shapes people, because I really think it kind of tells you a lot. What's shaping Colin Cowherd? You mentioned, I know a little bit about your background, but give us a little understanding of what was shaping Colin Cowherd growing up.
I was in a small town, divorced parents, and kind of the fear of having to live in this small rural town. And so I just decided at a very early age, Andrew, it's hard to explain how obsessed I was. What's interesting is because we didn't have pro sports in Seattle till like 77, the Seahawks and the Mariners. Yep. I went to the first Mariner game. I can recite the entire Mariner starting lineup, the pitchers, the pitching depth, Angels, they Bobby Grich and Frank Tanata, Joe Rudy. I was obsessed with sports, and in high school, I had one friend who liked sports, kind of liked sports. In college, there were a couple. But I just figured out really early my drive was going to be it. That was it. I didn't have a great voice. I still don't think I do. I didn't have, some look. I didn't have a resume. I didn't have anybody in the business. I just had to outwork people, and that's been the story of my life. I didn't go to Northwestern. I didn't go to Missouri. I didn't go to Syracuse. I went to Eastern Washington University. I can remember my first broadcast on 10-watt K89. And that was my only way out. It was grab a shovel and dig, and that was it.
Listen to the rest of the podcast, andrewmarchand.com, andrewmarchand.com. You mentioned